Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining the Health Series Talk 3 on menopause and how to manage it with confidence today. We have over 180 registrations from Singapore, India, Indonesia, Dubai, Sydney, UK, Africa, Vietnam, China, Malaysia, and different parts of the world. So I'm looking forward to an interactive session today. I have planned for future sessions on our Health Talk series on topics like acidity, weight management, PCOD, thyroid, and many more. Today, I will talk about menopause for around 30 minutes, and then I will take your questions one by one. You feel free to type your questions in the chat box or raise your hand or unmute yourself to raise your questions. I would appreciate your feedbacks on Facebook page, LinkedIn, or Instagram page of mine. This helps me to understand and also to improve the future sessions. Thank you so much. Let's start the session. I'll just share a screen and I'll go through a presentation. Let me just admit a few more are coming in. Okay. So what is menopause? As a nutritionist, when I consult with my clients, most of the men and women, I have noticed they have either very little idea or no idea absolutely of what menopause is all about and how it is going to impact us and how do we deal with it. So it's more about the awareness that most of us, even we as women, we are not aware of how to deal with it. It is a natural human process. Some of us are going through it, some are going to go through it later on. But this is going to be there as a part of our life in some stage. And I really don't understand sometimes why, as a woman, we don't want to discuss this. And why do we feel so low in confidence? This is a natural human cycle which every one of us has to go through. So what is actually menopause is about? It is a phase of a human life cycle. It is a biological process. So what is there to shy about? It is always good to discuss and talk about what we feel so that discussing in groups and with people, it gives awareness, eye-opener for some to learn something new from others' experience. So we must discuss, we should speak, and if needed, we should reach out to seek help. So with this, I will start with first the menopause analysis. I'm sharing a data on menopause. One of the research study and the data says 84% of women say their symptoms are interfering with their life. And 12% says it interferes to a great deal and affecting their life. 50% of the women has suffered with hot flushes. 42% are suffering with night sweats. And 38% of the women who are suffering with menopause are suffering with vaginal dryness. With this, you can make out not every woman is facing similar symptom. Some are facing more, some are facing less. But it is a phase with which we women have to go through it sooner or later. 42% says they never discussed menopause with a health provider. So that shows only 1 in 5 women receive a referral to a menopause specialist. We hardly go to doctors or physicians to understand what the problem is and how to deal with it. And another survey indicates that 75% of women are not prepared for menopause. Although it's a crucial stage in a woman's life, we don't bother to prepare for it. We are not ready mentally or physically. Physically, there is no need to because body will automatically turn, but mentally we must prepare ourselves. So what is menopause? Menopause is the permanent stoppage of menstruation, which means this is the end of our periodic life. It also indicates the end of our reproductive life. Menopause does not occur in a day or two. It starts with varying length of menstrual cycle, and it ends with final menstrual periods. So, which means periods will fluctuate. You will start seeing a gap of say 2 months, 3 months, and gradually this will increase to 6 months and a year or so. It usually occurs in an age range of 45 to 55. The average age range is 50. What happens in menopause? Our ovaries stop releasing eggs and stop making hormones like estrogen and progesterone. Now the problem starts with the stoppage of hormone. So let's talk about what are the phases, how this menopausal stage of 9 to 10 years takes place. First stage is called premenopause. Premenopause is just the stage before this menopausal transition. So which is the normal life which a woman is going through. Now, phases, there are 3 different phases of menopause. Just have a look at this graph. The orange section, this shows perimenopause. This is the first stage, perimenopause. Here, the periods are regular and starts fluctuating gradually. If you see, it starts fluctuating gradually, and the color, the shade is transiting from orange to lighter yellow. So the next stage, the next stage is the menopausal stage, which is the average between 50, 51 years age. This is the stage where our last period happened. And after this, after the age of 55, is the age limit where we call post-menopause. So by 55, on an average, menopause sets in, there is no more periods. And post this age is called post-menopausal age or post-menopausal phase. Now, all these menopausal symptoms are very, very strong during this orange phase of the graph, which is perimenopausal phase. And you can see some bit of shady area here, which is still in the menopausal phase. So some symptoms are still visible here. And towards the yellow section, which means towards post-menopausal phase, the symptoms gradually goes down. But yes, as I said, every symptoms, it is again varies from female to female. Every human being is different. Some still face this problem post-menopausal and some may not. But in general, the symptoms goes down gradually. Now, what are the impacts of menopause? The lack of estrogen and progesterone causes many changes in our physiology that directly or indirectly affects our health and overall well-being. What are the top symptoms and what are the topmost impact which as a female body we go through? First is cholesterol level starts increasing, and this increases the risk of heart diseases and stroke. Second is osteoporosis. Female body becomes prone to osteoporosis. Why? Because calcium loss becomes maximum in the first 5 years of menopause. Why? Because no more estrogen. When our body starts depleting in estrogen, that also leads to bone mineral density loss. And once the estrogen totally stops, this leads to osteoporosis, further loss in the bone mineral density. I will be discussing this in detail later. So what are the next further impacts? Hot flushes, night sweat. So what are hot flushes? Suddenly, a woman sitting among a group of people under a well-ventilated or very nice cool room under aircon, everyone else is comfortable and suddenly she is sweating. That is what hot flush is. You start feeling uncomfortable, tremendously sweating all over the body. So that's the hot flushes. It can be very, very uncomfortable. Night sweat. This is also hot flush, but this occurs during your sleep, during midnight or in your deep sleep. You are sleeping normally in a very well-cooled, temperature-controlled room, and suddenly your partner is sleeping in deep sleep and suddenly you wake up. Why? Your whole body is drenched. Your pajamas are wet because of profusely sweating. This is night sweat. So these are troublesome. Not only the complication ends with it, Even they are furthermore like UTI or urinary urgencies. Now, decreased estrogen level, since the estrogen levels are reducing, there are certain other impact on our body, like our tissue lining in the urethra and bladder becomes very thin. Not only becomes thin, it also becomes dry, and the elasticity of that tissue lining also becomes less, which leads to frequency of urine passage. And also, because it is also becoming dry, it also invites frequent urinary tract infections. The complication doesn't end here. It has many more, like digestive issues comes up. Constipation becomes a common problem. Vaginal dryness, loss of sexual activity, joint pain. These are all common issues which comes along with menopause. Our skin loses its elasticity and becomes thin and fine due to loss of elastin and collagen from the skin. Weight gain becomes a normal issue, and mood swing is almost on the top. Ask the family persons, ask your family members, they are the one who suffers with our mood swing. Depression and anxiety, dry and coarse hair. Hair loss is also seen due to low level of estrogen. So these are the complications, these are the impacts of menopause. But my question is, why it is a taboo? Why as a female, as women, we don't want to discuss it? First thing we need to understand, it's not a disease. It's a very natural phase of us, our women's life cycle. Even lovebirds, very loving couples, they don't talk about it. Remember, it's not a disease. It's just a normal stage of life that we, every woman, have to go through. Just like we prepare our body for pregnancy, we must prepare ourselves for menopause too. How? By providing ourselves with the right information, professional advice if needed. Family support also is needed, especially your partner support is a must. So discuss with them. Most of the time, they are not aware what you're going through and why this is happening. Now, some of the time, women also, they try to understand, they try to learn, but still their partners, the men of the family, they are totally unaware. They have zero clue of what it is going through. Why men should know about this? Men should very clearly be aimed at, and they should be knowing this. Why? Because your mood swings are not aimed at them. This is a general phase which you are going through. So you are irritated, you are shouting, you are not doing it intentionally. Something is wrong in you. It's a small phase which will go. Men should treat you, pamper you to make your load lighter. They should understand that your sex drive is changing. They must talk respectfully and must approach you as a couple. Most of the time, I will request everybody to mute yourself, please. Most of the time, it is seen that women confidence become low. You need help. As partner, as men in the family, they also support you. They should also help you to boost your confidence. Discharge is heavy. Breast is sore. We wet our pajamas while in deep sleep. They must listen to us. So, men of the family should be aware of what you are going through. It's tough to hear, but imagine we live with it daily during that 8 to 10 years phase. It's not easy. Although it is different for every woman, but they must understand that their mom, wife, their sister and daughter will go through it differently. It is a phase which takes time to go. Be empathetic, talk and discuss. And the most important is keep up the romance, don't shun her. The lady needs it. So with menopause, the impacts I have discussed, but I would also like to discuss here certain health elements which are at stake. With onset of menopause, there are high chances of the female getting diabetes type 2. Why? because the hormone level inside your body is changing, and that leads to fluctuation in blood sugar levels. If blood sugar levels goes too high, it gives us high chances of diabetes. Also, as I have said, during menopause, weight gain has become a common issue. Now, with increasing weight, it also leads higher chances of getting diabetes. Insomnia is a common issue during menopause, sleeplessness. Now, sleep, if you don't get enough of good quality sound sleep, that will also trigger your hormonal levels. And this will also result in increased insulin level, which will lead to your blood sugar level rise. So we must try and put all our efforts to improve our sleep. Remember, sound sleep at a stretch of 7 to 8 hours is needed. Not only it ends here, along with obesity, diabetes, heart disease is again another issue, which also the risk of getting some sort of heart disease becomes high with onset of menopause. Low level of estrogen also lead to clogging of our arteries, which can give rise heart disease. Our blood pressure goes high. Bad cholesterol like LDL tends to increase. Our good cholesterol either reduces or remains same. Triglyceride level also increases. So altogether, these give rise to increase in chances of having certain heart disease. So what should we do? There are so many impacts, so many complications. So let's talk about the most common one, the hot flushes. One must dress in light clothes. Easy cotton light clothes help you to feel better. Avoid spicy food, avoid caffeine intake, avoid liquor, avoid smoking. Those who smoke, please stop it. Spicy food also triggers heatiness in your body. So try to eat food which is less in spice and easy to digest. Drink plenty of water. Try to eat whole grain food. Try to avoid fried food and sweets. These are difficult to digest, and it will help you to feel lighter and better. To avoid weight gain, one must ensure the meal is balanced as per your physical activity level, as per your age, and exercise should be a regular design. Must remember, if we are eating every day, we are sleeping every day, we must exercise every day. The third major problem is osteoporosis. Our bones becomes fragile, very prone to fractures and breakage. So intake of calcium-rich diet plus, listen properly, intake of calcium-rich diet. So our diet must be optimized in calcium. On top of it, we must supplement ourselves with calcium supplement. Diet rich in magnesium and vitamin D supplement can help restore our bone mineral density. Decreased vaginal elasticity leads to dryness in our vagina. So vitamin E intake in terms of diet and also as supplement helps improving the elasticity and the dryness. And also casual exercises can help. Also, because of menopause, urinary urgency becomes common. So do regular casual exercises which will help you to improve your urinary urgency. It will help you to better control on your urinary frequency. Apart from doing this, some of the pointers which I have discussed, there is a therapy which we call hormone replacement therapy, HRT. That also works. What exactly it is? Since we know during menopause, our estrogen and progesterone stops down gradually and finally ceases. So there are replacement therapies available wherein estrogen is replaced in your body either via oral form, that is in pill form, or vaginally via vaginal as a cream form, or transdermal like on your skin in a patch form. These are short-term or long-term therapies based on woman to woman, what they exactly need. The treatment is done. These therapies are recommended, wherein estrogen supply is done, either pill, cream, or patch form. It replaces our hormones, estrogen hormone, because ovaries are no more producing. So external replacement is done. What is the benefit? It minimizes all the menopausal symptoms, especially the hot flushes, night sweat, osteoporosis. These are some of the critical issues which can be managed by this. This HRT can be applied during menopause, before menopause, and even after menopause. Patch or the transdermal, which is a patch applied on the skin, is associated also with lowering down the risk of blood clotting, stroke, and increase of triglycerides as compared to oral tablets. And this also helps improving the quality of life during our menopausal year. Because of this, so many impacts. Most of our women suffer with a normal quality of life is hampered. So this improves to a certain extent, improving your quality of life. Now, are every woman good candidate for HRT? No. Safe option. It is very safe and healthy for those who have no symptoms. In terms of any additional symptoms, there is no additional health issues. And those females who are within the 10 years age of menopause, or for females who are younger than 60 years of age, it is safe. So females who are facing or going through menopause within 10 years or younger than 60 years, yes, HRT is safe for you. And it is also suggested for females who have premature ovarian failure or have got surgical ovarian removed or some radiation exposed and which has induced menopause. So these are the conditions where usually HRT is suggested. Okay, now there are certain consequences of HRT as well. So always speak to your gynac and discuss whether you belong to the right candidate group to have this HRT replacement done for you. Try not to have it by yourself. Always speak to a professional. Now I will be focusing on osteoporosis a little more because this is a critical condition which I have seen most of the women post 50 go through, especially post menopause goes through. Little bit of twist in the ankle, little bit of jerk, the hip fracture become common. Why? Because we need to understand it is an osteoporotic symptom. Your bones have become brittle and fragile. Can you see this matrix? This is normal bone matrix, how dense it is supposed to be. And after osteoporosis, it has become so porous, this block, big holes, which says the bone matrix has become so thin. With one twist, it can break. So we must try all our means to prevent osteoporosis. So to avoid osteoporosis, our diet should be well nourished and especially it should be rich in nutrients which supports our bone health. So what are the nutrients needed for our bone health? Calcium. We must optimize our diet with calcium-rich food. Plus, on top of optimizing the diet, we must have oral supplement for calcium on a regular basis. And remember, this is on for lifelong post 40. After calcium, we need phosphorus, magnesium, vitamin D3, and vitamin K to optimize our bone health. So what are the food? The normal general food which are providing you the maximize you the bone health are milk and milk products. So remember, if the milk is hormone free, please go for it. If it is not, then we must think about at least having yogurt or Greek yogurt because these are prebiotics and strong source of calcium and protein. Those who are lactose intolerant, they can also choose for some soya milk or almond milk or lactose-free milk options. Soybean or soya products are also good option for bone health, wherein strong calcium sources. Sesame seed, okay. Sesame seed contains more than 80% of body's need of calcium. So 100 gram of sesame seed can provide almost around 80 to 85% of your calcium requirement. So, I would request everybody to please keep yourself in mute. I can see hear a lot of background noise.
Neenu, even you could unmute everybody as the coordinator.
I did, but I have just put them to unmute by themselves. So let me just change the.
Sure.
Yeah. I did, but some. Okay, I think now it's fine. Sorry. So dairy, like milk and milk products, I said. Apart from that, soya bean, tofu, tempeh, soya milk are good sources. Sesame seed is an excellent source for calcium. Sardines or salmon or any fresh or saline fish are good. Seafood, green leafy vegetables, any sort of green leafy vegetables. I have written one named spinach, but it indicates all green leafy vegetables. Beans and legumes like white beans, chickpeas, kidney beans are good source. I would like to also discuss here, there is external product like a hormone replacement therapy is like by replacing hormones. Apart from there are certain dietary resources via which also we can try increasing our estrogen, like some phytoestrogen rich foods, like the cruciferous vegetables, wherein cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli are considered as cruciferous vegetables. They have good amount of estrogen. Like eating chickpeas, white beans, kidney beans, they also contains this phytoestrogens, or soya bean. These are all good sources of phytoestrogens. But the problem is these estrogen content are much lesser to what the body needs. But there is no harm in providing externally these dietary sources of estrogen because it is natural. We can always try that. As I said, every woman goes through different intensity of the complications. Some gets relief by adding these estrogen, phytoestrogen rich diet, some may not, but there's no harm in trying. Parallel therapies like this aquapressure and acupuncture, people have also tried. Not great result, but again, I would not say zero results. Some females have been benefited, some may not, but there is no research which says that this is a 100% guarantee or result oriented towards it. Apart from that, some female have also get benefited with applying these essential oils in their hot flushes. But again, there is no research which says 100% guarantee of anything. So you can try and see which helps for you. But one thing is for sure, to restore our bone mineral density along with this diet, which should be rich in the minerals and vitamins needed for bone health, one must do regular exercise, including some weight bearing and resistance exercise. So exercise has to be an integral part of the woman in every day. Like we eat, we sleep, we must exercise, and if possible, try doing at least 2 to 3 days of weight bearing or resistance exercise in a week. This will help to restore your bone mineral density. With this, I will come to an end for my presentation, and I'm opening the forum for all to ask your questions. I'm just seeing some questions on the chat. There is a question from Ruchi. It's soya and soya products detrimental for thyroid disorders? Thyroid disorders, like if it is autoimmune or Hashimoto, or if you are having thyroid nodules, which are carcinogenic, then yes, please avoid. But in normal thyroid, like normal regular hypothyroid, you can always have soya in terms of fermented soya product, could be tofu or tempeh, which are fine. But always remember, in moderation, try not to exceed. There is another question, what are white beans? White beans are another form of another legumes which are available in market, and some part of the globes they are available fresh as dry beans, and in some parts it is available in canned. Check where do you belong to, and these are similar in look as lobia or black-eyed white beans. Or you can say these are very similar to kidney beans. Kidney beans are red in color, they are bigger. White beans are white in color and smaller in size. Lima beans are again another variety of beans. These are little broader and thicker. These are all different variety of beans. Say, problem is in general people say avoid cruciferous vegetables for hypothyroid, but as I have suggested, for normal hypothyroid wherein you are on a regular medication or without medication also, if you see your thyroid level are under control or managed, not fluctuating too much, yes, it is absolutely fine to have cruciferous vegetable. Remember, you should avoid having cruciferous vegetable raw. Always try to cook them before you eat. Cooking devoids phytoestrogens from that vegetable. So it is absolutely safe for your thyroid. Another question from Shalini. Are these estrogen replacing foods effective in a cooked format or boiled? Okay. This is same, Shalini, as I said, when we cook them, like if it is a vegetable, if we cook them, this will reduce the estrogen component. So that is the reason the food estrogen from dietary source are very less. But there is no harm in keep trying and adding these more in your daily diet, because this will at least provide you some estrogen on top. Because as it is, your body has depleted on estrogen, so this can be a trial. You can keep trying adding estrogen via food, no harm.
I'm sorry to come in, from chat on voice. How about sesame seeds? So sesame seeds can be taken raw, or do we need to dip it in water the way we traditionally do in India? What's the best way to have sesame seeds?
This is Shalini, right?
Yes, this is Shalini. Thanks.
Yeah, Shalini. Sesame, you don't need to dip in water. You can dry roast it. Slightly roast, do not over roast because they burn very easily. Or you can roast and sprinkle on top of your food, or you can grind it into powder. You don't need to soak them. So either you roast, just sprinkle, you make paste, you can use it in the powder form, whichever way you like, you can add it into your diet. They are very good, excellent source of calcium. And apart from that, they are very good in healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Okay. Has asked how to control anxiety and stress associated with PMS. Yes, this is a good question, Smita. Generally, it's very difficult, but I would suggest try to do some meditation, try to do any activity or follow certain activity which helps you to feel relaxed. You need to relax your brain, you need to relax your muscles. Some female find it good and better when they do some yoga. Some find it easy when they go for long walks. Choose your own. Some even have told me that they feel it very relaxing when they listen to some nice soothing music. So you choose your own activity which helps you feeling better. Try choosing. I am sure something will definitely help you. Deep breathing exercise always helps to release our anxiety and our stress level. Try to keep mingling, do activity which helps you feel good. These are some pointers which will, I'm sure, which will help you in future to release your anxiety and distress you. Rashmi has asked one question. What about dry hair and hair loss? What can be done? So as we know, with because of estrogen, what are the impacts on hair is the hair becomes very brittle, dry and frizzy. Not too much we can do in terms of replacing hormone, like as I suggested, add cruciferous vegetables, add beans like chickpeas or kidney beans more in your diet. So these are good sources, or soya product, fermented soya product. These are good sources you can try. This can help. But also dry hair is not only because of estrogen lack. Estrogen lack is one of the pointers. If you think your diet is not balanced, and if there is iron is low, or your other good quality fatty acids are low in your diet, you must check that your diet is well balanced. You must ensure your diet is rich in protein. Especially for those who are vegetarian, must keep a close check that your protein intake is good, because lack of protein also results in brittle and dry hair, and which adds on to your postmenopausal symptom of dryness of hair. So try, these are the things, we can try the things which are under our control. So try doing all those things, all those measures which can help improve. In addition to what estrogen is damaging, at least we can reduce the external damage. So in general, your protein level should be high, your iron rich food, try adding vitamin A rich food, vitamin E rich food. So all oily seeds and nuts are good sources of vitamin E. Try adding loaded of fruits and vegetable in your diet, and especially focus on colorful fruits and vegetable, whether it is red, yellow, purple, orange. These all color signifies vitamin A. So we must ensure that my diet is good in vitamin A, vitamin E. These are something which helps my hair quality. So you will surely be benefited, but this is a slow progress. So keep trying. And on top of it, I would definitely suggest you to have a supplement, a multivitamin supplement, because we know there are certain internutrient reaction which always keeps on going. In presence of one vitamin, the other may not get absorbed, or in presence of one mineral, the other may not get absorbed. To avoid those deficiency symptoms, one must top up with a multivitamin supplement on a daily basis. And if you are a vegetarian, which means not a regular fish eater, must ensure that you are having a omega-3 fish supplement, fish oil supplement. That will also help improving your hair quality and reducing your inflammation.
I would like to ask you one more thing, Meenu.
Yeah, who's this? Anju, or who's this?
Yeah. This is Anju or Rashmi, you can call me, no worries.
Okay, okay.
This is, I don't take any medicines so far now. I'm already 49, closer to 50. Is it must to take any kind of tablets? Because I'm not so, like, I don't like medicines, that's it.
Okay, a couple of things. I'm talking about supplements. First thing we need to understand, supplements are different from medicines. They look like tablets or capsules. They are just to replace or to cover up for the deficiencies which are building up in our body because of presence of one mineral sometimes hinders absorption of other. For example, a very common example is in presence of calcium, iron will not get absorbed. So if I'm eating a food, say suppose pulses or leafy vegetables which are iron rich, in presence of calcium rich food, say curd, yogurt, if I eat both together, iron available in the pulses or beans or the leafy vegetable will not get absorbed. So ideally one need to keep a gap between the two, or else you have to supplement for iron. If you don't know and you keep eating this food together and you see I'm eating rich iron rich food, I'm eating calcium rich food, but there is no effect on iron. Like a very common example, Indian recipe called palak paneer, which is so popular among Indians and even non-Indians. They also like this palak paneer. Now this is excellent example. Why palak or spinach? Spinach is a very rich source of iron, and cottage cheese or paneer is a rich source of calcium. The moment it combines together, it forms a chelate compound, calcium oxalate forms. So which neither allows the iron to get absorbed in your body nor the calcium to your body. Although when we eat, we may think as a layman, oh, I am eating so much of iron and I am getting so many, so much good dose of calcium from cottage cheese or paneer. But as a matter of fact, your body is not able to absorb it.
Yeah, right.
So to avoid those circumstances, it's ideally a good idea to supplement yourself with a multivitamin. And apart from that, vitamin D has become a common deficiency in almost all ethnicity. Try to have vitamin D supplement on a regular basis. Get a blood test check done so that you know what your levels are.
Okay.
Vitamin D acts as a pre-hormone. It acts as a pre-hormone. Its deficiency can also lead into your bone health deprivation, deteriorates your bone health. Calcium will not get absorbed properly if your vitamin D is low. And its deficiency can lead into weight gain, can also lead into heart health issues and also diabetes. And if it is low, other hormonal function can also get impacted because of vitamin D.
To continue with the same thread, do you have a suggestion that on a medication that we can take for calcium and vitamin D and all that together in Singapore?
See, there are many brands available. I would suggest for calcium, try to have something which comes along with magnesium, little bit of magnesium too. And ideally a calcium dose would be either 500 to 600 mg. And this varies depending on your diet. So no one dose works for everybody. I need to understand your age and what are the symptoms you're going through and how is your dietary pattern. Then based on that, I can increase or decrease the potency of the calcium dosage. But in general, 500 to 600 mg on daily basis is needed. Post 40 for every woman.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Meenu.
Yeah, who's this?
I'm Rashmi this side, Meenu.
Yes, Rashmi.
I just asked a question about the hair, and you were saying about the iron and calcium, not being taken together. So I have been actually prescribed by a doctor to take calcium and iron tablets together. Like in the sense, he has prescribed me 500 grams of calcium and iron. So do you think I should be taking it at different times, or can I take it together?
Yes, Rashmi. Never take them together. You can ideally have calcium in the morning and iron can be had later during the day or after your dinner, before your bedtime. And ideally, iron supplement should be taken with either some vitamin C resource. Either you can take it with lemon water or fresh orange juice, something which contains good amount of vitamin C, because vitamin C helps better absorption of iron.
Okay. Thanks, Meenu.
I would like everybody to turn on the videos if possible. I would like to click some pictures, such beautiful ladies.
Meenu, can I ask
I
you
will
a question,
continue the
please?
question sessions. Yes?
Can I ask you a question, please?
Yes, sure.
This is Archana from Kolkata, India.
Yes, Archana, thank you so much for joining. After Amphan, so many network issues. I have received so many messages from friends, families, and others who have registered but unable to join. Tell me.
Today, actually, I had put a question that for this menopause. Hello, can you hear me?
Your voice broke, but I can see your question. Is anger related to menopause? Suddenly change in mood?
And
right?
one more question I've given about the white discharge and the spotting in between the periods.
Okay, let me see that as well. Let me answer this and I will just scroll down to the other question as well.
Sure.
Anger issues can also be related to menopause. Yes, as I said, mood swing. You suddenly feel irritated in everything. Your depression also becomes a common issue, which we don't realize that we are going into a phase of depression. We start disliking everything surrounding us. So if that is something, how will you know if you are living with your family? Discuss with them. Your children, your family members are the best one to tell you whether you are becoming too irritating, you are getting angry on everything, So that helps you to understand this is. Sorry. Yeah, so that helps us to understand. Yeah, that helps us to understand, yes, this is something which we are going through and we ourselves are unable to understand. So we need to understand, we need to involve ourselves in certain activities which makes us feel happy, especially this yoga meditation. This helps calming down our muscles, which relaxes, soothes, so we feel better. But exercise always helps us. Why? Because when we exercise, endorphin hormones are generated, and these are the happy hormones which makes you feel good. And this also helps reducing in cortisol hormones level. So when we exercise, there are dual benefit. Cortisol goes down, which is our anxiety and stress hormone. And endorphin, the happy hormones generate. So try to exercise. If not too much, if you are somebody who is not into it, regular exercising, start with some brisk walk or walk inside your home. Yeah, start doing the form of exercise which suits you, but try building up on it, which means keep challenging your own goals and try to achieve furthermore. That will definitely help you. There's a question. Yeah, yes, Babita.
Yeah, hi, Meenu. I'm Shalini.
Last month से और मैंने
1 minute, Shalini. 1 minute,
Yeah,
Shalini.
it's okay.
Let me finish
okay.
with Babita. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, Babita.
लास्ट मंथ रैशेज हुए हैंड और नेक पे, तो मैंने एलेग्रा खाया है 1 महीना से एलेग्रा खा रही हूँ. अब मेरा मेनोपॉज भी लास्ट ईयर चला गया, मतलब स्टार्ट हो गया.
स्टॉप, राइट? मेनोपॉज हो गया, स्टार्ट हो गया या खत्म हो गया?
खत्म ही हो गया. लास्ट ईयर मार्च लास्ट में हुआ था 19 मतलब.
ओके.
अब मुझे इचिंग हो रहा है हैंड और नेक पे, और मैं काफी टाइम से एलेग्रा खा रही हूँ, लेकिन ये अभी भी ठीक नहीं हुआ है। और डॉक्टर ने प्रेस्क्राइब किया है कि 1.5 महीना तक एलेग्रा खाओ, और भी 2-3 मेडिसिन ऐड।
आपने लिवर फंक्शन टेस्ट करवाया है? डॉक्टर ने करवाया था?
नो।
प्लीज स्पीक टू देम, या डायरेक्टली भी आप इंडिया में हैं कलकत्ता से तो वहाँ डायरेक्ट भी कर सकते हैं। एक बार लिवर फंक्शन टेस्ट करवाइए, बिकॉज क्या मेनोपॉज से हमारे बैड कोलेस्ट्रॉल बढ़ते हैं, ट्राइग्लिसराइड्स बढ़ते हैं। तो कहीं हमारा अगर फैटी लिवर या लिवर इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है तो उसके कारण भी स्किन में एलर्जी और रैशेस और इचनेस रेगुलर होती है। तो जस्ट एंश्योर कि वो लिवर फंक्शनिंग हमारी ठीक है, तो डरने की बात नहीं। फिर वो स्किन रिएक्शन हो रहा है, इसके लिए फिर देखना पड़ेगा कि कोई और एक्सटर्नल रीजन तो नहीं है जिस वजह से आपको हो रही है, क्योंकि मेनोपॉज से होने वाली इस तरह नहीं होगी जो कि लॉन्ग टाइम रहे।
अच्छा, वो ब्लड टेस्ट तो हुआ था, लेकिन अब
आप एक बार ढूंढ लो, नहीं तो फिर एक बार फिर से, अगर काफी दिन हो गए हैं तो एक बार फिर करवा लीजिए और फिर रिजल्ट शेयर कीजिएगा। आप मुझसे पर्सनली कनेक्ट कीजिए, आई विल आंसर यू। ठीक है, फिर रिपोर्ट्स देख के आपको अच्छी तरह बता सकूंगी।
ओके, थैंक यू।
मीनू जी,
यस,
can you answer me or you want to answer me?
यस अपना।
Okay, I get frequent headaches.
Right.
So is it because of this menopause? And I'm 49. So is it because of this menopause, or is it and I can't figure out it. Is it because of menopause?
See,
or is it migraine?
Sapna,
or is it sinus? Yeah.
Headache is a very common symptom. It can be because of menopause, it can be because of acidity, it can be because of migraine, it can be of various other issues. We need to
And
address if it is.
How do you identify?
So, do you think do you think you feel bloated, acidic, or gassiness is a common issue with you, or do you think the days when you feel headache, you were outside or exposed to sun for a long time, or you had a long food gap in between? So these are the triggers of some sort of acidity. Basically, gassiness, bloated, heaviness are all result and sequences of acidity, even migraine most of the time. So if you see, these are the consequences wherein you finally you get headache. Try to reverse, which means try to avoid long gaps. Even if you are out for some work which is keeping you long hours gap, try to carry some handy easy snack with you so that you are not starving for prolonged hours. This will help avoiding building up of gases and acid in your body, so you will not get headache. Right? Try doing that. Yes, Shalini, you were asking something.
Yeah, hi Meenu. I've turned 40 this year, and like from last 2 months I'm getting irregular periods. So this could be like because this is pre-menopause or something, or it is due to any other reasons basically.
Okay.
Before
Shalini,
that
do
it
you
was a
have any-
25 days ekdam regular periods, like 25 days of circle.
Okay, some females may have early menopausal symptoms. Check with your family, like if you have any elder sister, your mom, or your masi, biologically related. So just check with them if they had early menopause or not, because this also runs in the family. If your mom had early menopause, which is much earlier than 45, so probably you may also be prone to having early menopause. So that is possible. And don't worry, even if you see that fluctuations have started, not necessary that your menopause will set in within a year. It's a phase which takes from 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
Once it starts, the fluctuation keeps continuing and gradually frequency becomes low and finally it ceases off.
So it could be due to certain hormonal changes. For that I need to
Possibly, yes. It's better you go and check with a gynec so that she can she can do a test and see if your eggs are there, your ovary is responding properly. Is it the right time for you? Are you in the menopausal phase or what? So tests are there, so they can check and let you know where exactly
Thank
you
you
are.
so much.
I can see a hand raised. I can see a hand raised from Surya. Surya, you can unmute. You can ask. Yes, Surya?
Sorry, by mistake. Sorry.
Hi,
Okay,
Meenu.
no worries. Yes.
Hi, Meenu.
Yes,
This
Mala?
is Mala. Hi, I'll be completing 50 years next month.
Right.
From a month, last 1 month, I've been experiencing dryness in my vagina. I had checked with my gyno, and my gyno has prescribed me a Avalon. No, it's not a. It's a cream to be used for 7 days.
Okay.
And then for 2 months, twice weekly. So though I have some, because of the dryness, I was having little itchiness also. So that itchiness has gone, but the dryness, of course, I don't feel it, but I can realize that the dryness has gone because of that cream only. There's no like natural production of the liquid which should be there. Will I be experiencing this dryness for this menopause time, 3-4 years?
Yes. Dryness is a common issue with menopause. So if your case dryness is more, there are certain ointments, certain creams available, certain gels available which you can topically apply, or you can speak to your physician, your doctor, or your healthcare provider, so that they can suggest you another estrogen-rich cream which you can apply.
Yeah, she has given me this Avalon cream.
Okay.
So
that
I
will
was,
help you.
Yeah, I actually, why I wanted to ask you this is because I am not in for the creams or applications. Is there any natural food which I can add to my
See, in
diet?
general, you can try adding more liquid in your diet, more fluids in your diet. Keep yourself well hydrated. That's the first key.
Okay.
And try adding natural estrogen-rich food like the cruciferous vegetables, like the beans, pulses, and the legumes family, including soya-rich food. So that may help inducing natural estrogen to a certain extent.
Okay, so like I said, I'm reaching 50 next month. So around 3-4 years more, because my periods are still normal. Every month, I have not experienced any change, except that the flow is not as heavy as they were before.
Right.
So will this dryness get over once I complete my menopause stage?
Not 100%, but yes, it will reduce.
Okay. Fine. Thanks a lot.
Because the skin also becomes very thin.
Yes.
And the elasticity reduces because there is no elastin, and collagen also reduces. So these are the after effects which we have to go through.
Okay. Thank you.
Meenu, may I?
Okay, there is another question.
Meenu?
Yes. Who's this?
I'm Manisha Agrawal.
Yes, Manisha. Yes, Manisha.
Meenu, I had written my question before. Actually, I'm having a problem. Like after intercourse, the discharge is so acidic that it is unbearable. Is it due to menopause or some other reason might be there?
No, that could be depending on your internal. How old are you first? Tell me.
I'm 42.
So not necessarily because of menopause. I would suggest first improve your water intake. Check the diet which you're having. Your diet must be checked properly. So avoid acidic food. Have more whole grains, more fruits, more fresh vegetables in your diet. Cut down on sugar. Sugar induces acidity in your body. So reduce on sugar, reduce on fatty food or fried food. This will help you relieving the symptom. And even if this persists, please seek a gynec support. Please go and get a checkup done. This is not normal.
I had shown to my gynec because I had some other problems. So in that case, I had a DNC also. But after this, still the problem is persisting. This problem is persisting.
So did you speak to your gynae after that? That is still after DNC, it is
actually the lockdown period has made me helpless.
No worries. No worries. First you change your diet, increase water intake, and then if it is still persisting, speak to the gynae. Because this is not normal with menopause.
Meenu?
Yes, yes, Piyu?
Piyu from Vietnam.
Yes, Piyu.
It was really informative. Okay, my problem is, see, I never had a problem going to sleep, but it's become 6 hours. I just sleep for 8-9 hours, then became 7, now it's become 6 hours. Is there any way that I can increase sleep, please?
Now we need to understand sleep is a quotient of mental fatigue and physical fatigue. Anyone is missing, sleep will reduce. And with increasing age also sleep level goes down. That's a normal problem. So couple of normal things, normal suggestion I will suggest. Avoid watching any TV or mobile phone at least an hour and a half before your bedtime. Yes, ma'am. An hour and a half minimum, preferably 2 hours. Because this digital pixels keeps your subconscious brain awake for further 2 to 3 hours. That delays your sleep time. Second, do regular exercise.
That I do.
If you, yeah, good. Third, try avoid having caffeine frequently in your diet. So reduce your caffeine intake. Eat less spicy food.
Okay.
These things will help relaxing your muscles, soothing it naturally and calming down your body. And during night, when it is close to your bedtime, maybe half an hour before your bedtime, you can start reading some nice, light and easy paper printed book. Remember, paper printed book, not digital books.
All right. No,
because book reading has always helped you inducing sleep hormones.
Okay. Thank you.
Do deep breathing exercises that will also help you.
We take calcium.
Who's this? Sorry, I can't see. Wait a minute. Tell me. Yes.
Can we take calcium 500 regularly?
Yes. Regularly.
Regularly.
500 is the minimum dose on top of diet rich in calcium.
Okay.
आराम से लीजिए और regular लीजिए. It is needed.
Should I need iron also?
That depends on your iron level.
Okay. Should
because overdose is also not healthy.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Hello,
Hi,
Minu ji.
Ava. Where are you? Can't hear you. Yes, yes. Somebody else.
Hello, Minu ji. I'm Apeksha from Jakarta. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Apeksha.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, just one more question is like your session was really very good and very very informative. One question is like menstrual cup are useful? Are they safe for using?
See, menstruation cup are useful. They are safe, but not everything is safe for every woman. So you must discuss with your gynaec. And also sometimes it is seen that it is safe for others, may not be suiting your body.
Okay.
So we have to observe our body. Remember, every human being's body is different and response towards external things are also different. If something is suiting to my sister, may not be necessary that it will be suiting me. So keep observing it if there is any side effect. And if you are confused, you can speak to your gynaec and discuss and see.
Okay. Thank you very
Meenu,
much.
I have a question. Hi, this is Jayashree here.
Yes, Jayashree. Yes, Jayashree.
Meenu, I want to check with you. A lot of ladies are prescribed in Singapore and Southeast Asia, or to have glucosamine. So, which one is better, glucosamine or calcium for bone density, or should we be taking both?
Calcium is a must. Glucosamine is supposed to be helping in terms of reducing inflammation. If you are the one who is suffering through or glucosamine, ensure you are having glucosamine with MSM. Don't just have plain glucosamine. Calcium is a must. Post 40 calcium supplementation is a must.
Okay, and another question I have is that regarding weight gain, we all know that after 40 everybody starts gaining a bit more weight, and with perimenopause also, which I mean, actually when I got my blood test done, I was told I'm not even in the perimenopausal stage, but I've been seeing a tendency to gain weight, which is being linked to hormonal changes. So just wondering, is it actually possible after menopause and after doing a lot of exercises and maintaining your diet, do people go back to their pre-menopause weight, or is it like you're going to be stuck with that weight for the rest of your life?
Good question, Jayashree. In fact, you will be surprised to hear this. Yes, it is possible to go back to the premenopausal weight. In fact, better than premenopausal weight.
Okay.
But it is a difficult journey, not as easy as losing weight before menopause. It's your discipline, your dedication, and your hard work which actually helps you to lose that kind of weight and enjoy a healthy life. It is possible. People are doing, so it is doable. Just have faith and be disciplined. And always remember, diet and exercise and sleep. 3 things are important to maintain or to lose weight.
Okay, right. Thanks a lot, Meenu. Thank you.
Hi, Meenu. Sanjana.
Who's this? Please, there are 2 things. Can't hear you. 1 minute.
Can you hear me?
Sanjana, right?
Shabda.
Okay, yes, yes.
Like you said that calcium supplements are necessary at 40. If we are taking multivitamin, do we have to take along with that calcium and omega-3 supplements as well?
Yes, omega-3 is usually not given in the multivitamin supplement. So omega-3 is needed, especially if you are vegetarian or you are non-vegetarian but not a daily fish eater.
Okay, I'm a vegetarian.
It is ideally a good idea to supplement with your omega-3 fish oil.
Okay.
And calcium, depending on your multivitamin, you must check if there is calcium 500 or 600 mg, then you don't need not to supplement additionally.
Okay.
But usually calciums are low in multivitamin. That's the reason calcium supplements are suggested separately.
And how do you distinguish the omega-3 supplements and the vitamin D supplement? I do take the vitamin D supplement not very regularly, but yeah, twice a week. But,
see, omega-3 is not a vitamin. Omega-3 is fish oil fatty acid. It's a omega-3 fatty acids. It's an oil supplement. This is not vitamin. Yes, it is different.
So vitamin D also one needs to take to help the bone.
One must need to take because unfortunately there is no dietary source of vitamin D naturally available. Only some food which are fortified additionally with vitamin D, they supply you little bit of vitamin B3, which is not enough. And the sunlight, early morning 2 hours sunlight is good, but how many of us practically go and expose ourselves to that early morning 2 hours sunlight? So ideally, don't give excuse and supply yourself with vitamin D supplements. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Meenu. Sanjana here.
Yes, Sanjana.
Yeah. So you were saying about, like, for example, when we eat palak paneer and stuff, like the calcium and the iron, right? They don't go
Right.
together. So is it not a good idea now to eat yogurt with our meals, like when we have sabzi or dals or all these things? So it's not a good idea to have them together.
Yes. If you are the one who's low on iron or you are one who's targeting iron from your meals, absolutely not a good idea to club your yogurt along with your dal or sabzi. Try to have either 30 minutes before your meal. The yogurt you can have either 30 minutes before your meal or after 30 minutes of your meal.
Okay, perfect.
So a gap is needed.
Sorry, one more question related to glucosamine, Meenu, that, sometimes it has symptoms like heartburn or upset stomach, but still if the doctor has prescribed for your needs to have glucosamine, etc., what should we be having alongside glucosamine to reduce the side effects? Anything we can have?
Sorry, what did you say? Along with, sorry, can you come again? It just broke.
Glucosamine sometimes leads to the side effect of heartburn and upset stomach. So is there anything else we can have, or how can we have it so it doesn't create the side effect?
Glucosamine initially can trigger and give you this heartburn kind of effect. So ideally, the dosage always, it is suggested when you start having glucosamine, avoid sitting or lying down at least 45 minutes after having glucosamine.
Oh, okay.
One must follow this instruction so you can avoid having those heartburn and all those symptoms later on.
Great. Thanks so much, Meenu. Would you be leaving your email ID so we can consult you privately later?
Yes, I will be sending the email which you have received from me when you have registered.
Okay.
My email ID is already there with you all.
That is the one that we can use, is it, to connect? Okay.
Meenu@foodandwellness.com. It is there in your email box. Check with it.
Great.
And also you will be receiving, after this session, you will be receiving another mail with a PDF format of the today's presentation. All my details are there.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You are reachable on a WhatsApp message away from me. You can connect me over WhatsApp, not issue. Yes, I can see a hand.
Meenu, one more question. You said that
Okay, just
glucosamine.
one by one. Wait a minute. Yes, Manisha, tell me.
You said glucosamine should be taken with MSM. Could you put some light on what is MSM?
MSM is another component. Usually glucosamine are available in two variants. One is without MSM, the other is with MSM. So ideally go for the one which is with MSM. That is better.
Okay, thank you.
There is a hand, it says Gupta on screen. I don't know the full first name. There's a hand raised here. Archana, yes.
Yeah, Meenu.
Dipali, I'll come to you next. Yeah, yes, Archana.
I wanted to know about that white discharge and the spotting in between the periods.
Okay, so white discharge is also normal. Even before menopause also some amount of white discharge become normal. If it is more, then you must check whether it is because of any candida or any fungal infection or not. You must wash your vaginal area very nicely, thoroughly with soap and water frequently, dab dry always. And if you see vaginal discharge, white discharge is very often or more in quantity, please speak to your gynec if there is anything wrong. Normal discharge, normal amount is very common, not an issue. Spotting is also normal because you have mentioned that you are going through the phases of menopause.
Correct.
So it will spot and then gradually it will just stop. So nothing to worry.
Thank you so much.
The normal phase. Yeah. Yes, Dipali?
Hi, thanks, Meenu. I was actually piggybacking on Jayashri Bryce's question, and the other question I had was just asking you to repeat the consumption of yogurt, because my consumption of yogurt is high. I don't take the regular milk otherwise, but my consumption in the afternoon and dinner is high. So that, did you say that that's not okay to eat it as a part of the meal?
I said that's okay, absolutely okay. You are doing a good job. Please continue.
So don't have to do before and after. You were talking about eating half an hour before.
So no. That's something, two different things. First question, you said consumption of yogurt. Yes, it is absolutely good to have 2 bowls of yogurt in a day. Ideally 500 or of milk or milk products are advisable. So 2 bowls if you're having, that's perfectly fine. Now the second part you have asked is it good to combine with meal or not? Now why I was suggesting to maintain a gap of 30 minutes between your iron-rich meal and yogurt is your body gets low on iron. We eat meals targeting iron. So
I didn't hear the iron part. You'd already spoken about it. The other one, which was related to Jayashri's question, is regarding glucosamine. Do you need to get some kind of testing done? Because I'm at an age where I feel my bones are quite creaky, though I've been fairly active all my life. But I'm getting a lot of joints.
Glucosamine, to be honest, it has still not a very concrete result. No concrete result has seen with glucosamine so far. But there is no harm because it reduces inflammation of your joints. So it is good to have. But when you say creaky bones or something, you must ensure that your vitamin D is good, your calcium intake is good, diet plus supplementation of calcium, and your diet must be rich in phosphorus, vitamin K, and magnesium, because these are the components which will optimize your bone density. And do regular weight bearing exercise too.
So that part is, I think, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Mala, I can see your hand. Yes.
Yeah. Meenu, one more thing I wanted to know about vitamin D. How much and when should we have vitamin D?
Vitamin D, first you need to check your vitamin D levels and then doses are set accordingly. If suppose for normal and maintenance diet, I would suggest 1000 IU of vitamin D supplementation daily is helpful. If somebody is low on vitamin D, then it depends on how deficient or low levels of vitamin D and what age bracket you are. Based on that, vitamin D supplementation is suggested.
Okay.
Yes, Preeti? Yes, Mala, you have any more questions?
I could not get it clearly in the initial. You were talking about every daily, how much for a normal person?
1000 IU. That's a daily dose.
Daily dose, and you can continue it year after year.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Preeti?
Yeah, hi Meenu.
Yes,
I wanted to ask.
How are you?
Yeah, Yeah, good. I'm suffering from water retention. Before I used to have first and second day of period, but now the water retention is starting before 2 to 3 days from the onset of menstruation, and it continues for around 10 to 11 days, and then automatically it subsides. And I do take water in good amount every day. So is there any food which can reduce water retention?
Yes, absolutely. See, water retention close to your periods is normal, and especially when we are close to menopausal age, it becomes more frequent and normal activity. So try to reduce your sodium intake at least 7 to 10 days before your periods. So avoid sprinkling table salt, avoid using pickles, papad, which are high sodium food, or soya sauce. Try to avoid this food, and especially avoid salt high or sodium high food during dinner.
Okay.
And as I said, always keep increasing your water intake and do regular exercise. That will help you to reduce your water retention.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there is another hand here. Sorry, I forgot your name. Your screen says Gupta.
Yeah, I'm
There is a hand raised. Shraddha, right?
Shabda, S-H-A-B-D-A, Shabda.
Okay, Shabda. Yes, Shabda. Tell me.
I just want to know one thing, that omega-3 or chia seeds?
Chia seeds, flax seeds, sesame seeds, these are all good sources of omega-3 fatty acid. But remember, essential fat.
Meenu, your voice is breaking, so I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah.
The screen is frozen on my, device.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah. Now you are visible.
So were you able to hear the answer, or should I repeat?
No, nothing. I could not hear anything.
Okay. Chia seeds, sesame seed, and flax seeds all are good source of omega-3.
Okay.
But vegetarian sources, these are all vegetarian sources, they are missing ALA, alpha linoleic acid, which is a very essential fatty acid. That's the reason I keep on insisting those who are vegetarians or those who are non-vegetarian but not regular fish eater, they must have this omega-3 fish oil supplement, which comes along with ALA.
Is there any specific dosage? Because when you go to the pharmacy, they say that this is the best, this is the, we should go by them, or, by the...
See the omega-3 fish oil with EPA and DHA.
EPA and DHA, okay.
Yes.
That is the best. And you can take it daily, right?
Yes, daily, 1 to 2 capsules. Yes, Priyal, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, hi, Meenu. A very silly question. Like there are certain small things that we all don't know, like taking iron and calcium together. Any of those small points that you could tell us, which is common for us to know, that which should not be taken together, but people make mistakes?
Priyal, if you have heard, I have suggested some very common things about calcium and iron.
Correct.
Which is very much needed.
Anything
there are many
else?
more, like vitamin C and iron, they should go together. There are many more. The list goes endless. So at least these are the main ingredients we need. So try to focus.
Okay.
I will request all, please, if you are having any background noise, please mute yourself so others can at least hear properly. Yes, any more questions? Yeah, some hands I am missing out. I will read out the chat box. There are some questions left unanswered.
Meenu, can I ask a question?
Who's this? Just 1 second.
Jayashree.
Yeah, Jayashree.
Meenu, I wanted to check, I've heard from a couple of my friends who've already had gone through menopause that they were recommended to have collagen and maca powder. Is that recommended, or should we consult a gynecologist before taking
Collagen,
any
there
of
is
these
absolutely
supplements?
no harm. See, matcha or collagen, both are safe. There is no harm having it. As it is, we know with lowering and trimming down of estrogen, our collagen becomes less. So it is a good idea.
Is there
you can have
any specific dosage, or just whatever may
nothing,
written on a...
because there is no specific benefit also visible. having extra doses of collagen. So there is no recommended doses for this. And also you can try having more of vitamin C in your daily diet by increasing more vitamin-rich fruits and vegetables. Because vitamin C is the key ingredient which will convert into collagen, which will help building up and formation of collagen later.
Right. Thanks.
So increase your protein
Okay,
intake,
Meenu,
increase your
one more
vitamins.
question.
Yeah. Who's this? Yeah, Sapna, right?
Meenu?
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing. I can feel all this about the menopause. I can have started feeling. So all the medicines which you said, all vitamin D, K, iron, everything. So is it we must put it in our regular thing, or first we should go and get our test done, then take it?
See, vitamin D you can test. Calcium you can test. Iron you can get the test done. The rest for everything we don't go for test. Like if you are a vegetarian, B12, yes, you can test.
So others all vitamin K, omega-3, multivitamin, we should make it.
Yeah, you don't need. You just keep adding it in your diet. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is
Sajna,
okay.
you are trying to show me, right?
Yeah, this is okay, right?
Yes, 1000 mg is fine. Absolutely fine.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But Meenu, how many vitamins to add to the diet? Like you've talked about vitamin D, calcium, vitamin C. I mean, we're talking about a lot of pills.
Vitamin C, we don't need pills. As I said, maximize via vitamin C rich food, which is fruits and vegetables. So you won't be needing vitamin C as a supplement. Vitamin D, yes, there is no dietary source as such which we can recommend. So you must have vitamin D supplement. Now, depending on what is your level of vitamin D, it can be suggested as a monthly dose or a weekly dose also, so that you don't need to have every day pop in a tablet. That is also doable. And calcium is something post 40 women need it. We must maximize our diet to have maximum calcium intake, plus on top calcium is needed. So these two are necessary. And on top, if you think you are a vegetarian, you must have vitamin B12. So these three things are important.
But you mentioned the
B12,
the fish oil, omega-3. You also mentioned omega-3
that
fish
is
oil.
anti-inflammatory. That is okay. That is good to have. But essential, which is like a daily necessity, are these three things: vitamin D, vitamin B12, and calcium. B12 is only necessary for vegetarians. Remember, non-vegetarians, they don't need B12. It is there enough in their food.
But then there's a multivite also that you recommend, daily dose of multivite.
Yes, after 40. Yes, after 40.
Meenu, may I one question?
Yes, Manisha.
As you said about omega-3 supplement, fish oil, can I give this to my daughters even from this age, like 14, 15?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. 14 is a very good stage to have. Even younger kids, they can have.
Thank you.
Just a fish oil.
Okay.
Okay.
Because they are also
Anybody
having.
whose question? Yeah. Yes, Manisha, you were saying something?
Yeah. They are also having a dry hair problem. So, can you suggest something for them? Which other
Check
supplements
their
which I
diet.
can.
Check their diet. Young adults, they need a healthy, nutritious diet. Ensure that they are eating a lot of fruits and their diet is rich in vegetables too. Ensure they are not lacking in protein. Protein, iron are must for healthy hair. So please check.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Meenu, what are the benefits of evening primrose oil? Evening primrose
There
oil.
are many benefits. It soothes, it helps in improving your skin condition, your hair condition, relaxing your muscles. But there is no scientific research report which has suggested like as 100% benefit in any study. So you can have it on top if you want to.
Okay, thanks a lot.
There's a question been asked. Mirena, pros and cons. Okay. Mirena is the hormonal dosage basically inserted in women. But now this is the hormonal dosage, which means which continuously release some hormone inside your body. So now Mirena is good for many, may not be good for others. Every human body responds differently. Every woman's body responds to it differently. But it is good for those who are having like a lot of bleeding, profuse bleeding because of endometriosis or because of endometrial thickening of the wall. For them, Mirena is a blessing because this actually seizes down your periodic bleeding, which ultimately actually, if you don't use Mirena in that case, your bleeding can lead to very low levels of your iron and you become severely anemic, and other health complications also comes up with this. So Mirena is good for them, and for normal females also as a protection, Mirena is good, but keep checking it. Not necessary it is suiting for everybody. So you need to observe your body, how your body is reacting towards it. If you think you're fine with it, just continue and enjoy. And if you think, no, it's not suiting, it's adding on other complications in your body, better to avoid it. Speak to your gynec so that she can replace it. There is just vitamin D. There's another question I have received. I wanted to know about the particular medicines. As you said, we need vitamin D, K, calcium, phosphorus, etc. No need to supplement for vitamin K. Vitamin K is enough available in all green leafy vegetables. So ensure you are having adequate amount of leafy vegetables in your daily diet so that you naturally get vitamin K from your diet. Vitamin D, yes. As I said, we need to understand your vitamin D level, and based on that, the dosage is suggested. Various brands available. The person, Sunita has asked, she is from India, and in India, there are vitamin D supplements are easily available over the counters of variable dosage. So if you think your vitamin D level is less than 30, ideally the level is 30 to 100. And to get the optimum benefit of vitamin D, your level should be somewhere between 50 to 60. If you think your level is below 30, you can try having 25,000 IU or 60,000 IU once a week for 2 months, and then get a blood test done and see what your level is. And based on that, further dosage can be advised or suggested. Phosphorus, again, you don't need to eat any supplement, just maximize your diet. I have already mentioned the food, a lot of whole grains, beans, pulses, legumes are good sources of phosphorus. You don't need to supplement for each and every ingredient. Not every mineral needs supplementation. Just try and plan your diet wisely. Yes, PU, I can see you are raising hand.
How often should you get a bone density test done?
Once a year for must.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Once a year. If you are seeing some issues with your bone, aches, pains, or
no, just for general, just to make sure that the bones are okay.
Ideally, whole body checkup is ideally recommended once a year.
I get it done once a year, but the bone.
Yeah. So in fact, if you have done, say last year, say suppose if you have done bone mineral density, try to get a DEXA scan done next time.
DEXA scan. Okay.
DEXA, DEXA. That will determine what is the real volume of your bone and how good the bone health is in detail, so that you understand, and then based on that you can decide when to get another bone mineral density done or not.
Thank you.
Yes, Sangeeta. Wait a minute. Let me unmute you. You can unmute yourself. I have unmuted you. Sangeeta, you can unmute. I have already unmuted you. I think you need to unmute from your side. Can you see the speaker? Sangeeta, yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say my experience with Mirena was bad, in the sense it didn't work out. So I tried it on for almost 2 years, and then I had to go for a hysterectomy after that. So there was,
that's what I said. It is like a variable experience with variable women. So you have to observe how it is going with your body.
Yeah. So, and that's
there are other options. Yeah, there are other options available, so you can switch to other options too.
Yeah.
How are you doing now? Now it's all fine, I believe.
Yeah, now it's okay, touch wood. So, but the ovaries are still in place. So I
Yep.
want to know whether we go through menopausal symptoms even after that. That is, I know the ovaries are removed. You don't have hormones, and then you'll have to go for HRT, right? But if the ovaries are in place, is it? I mean, do we still have the same menopausal symptoms, or
Yes,
is it any
yes,
different?
yes.
Because I feel
That's the normal menopause.
I'm having a lot of, I never used to be anxious before. I'm having a lot of anxiety. It's been about 3 months
See,
after.
ovaries for some or other reason, if removed, that's a special case of having induced menopause, premature menopause, for certain
Okay.
specific reason. But normal females, not everybody goes through ovary removal. It's a normal phase of menopause which everybody goes through, wherein your estrogen normally depletes. Ovaries are still there, but they are not capable of producing any more eggs. So fertility age is over and periods are no more. So that is what we define as menopause.
Menopause. So if there's
And
no period,
it
like
comes with
menopause.
stages. Yes, it comes with all the effects what you're going through or other females are going through.
So the level is not as much as it would normally be. The estrogen
Yes.
and progesterone.
Progesterone both reduces. It just goes down. Estrogen starts trimming down
But does
gradually.
it still manufactures the hormones if the ovaries are there?
Yeah, it manufactures but
It will
reduce
be at a
low
reduced
level.
level, is it?
And finally it will stop totally. When it stops, it's totally like it is the menopause set in. No more periods.
Hi, this is Shalini here.
Okay,
This
thanks,
might
Shalini.
Sorry, this might sound like a silly question, but I just wanted to check. So you said that the menopause period might last up to like 10 years or something, as in, once the first symptoms set in and then finally when you have menopause. So all these issues that we're talking about, they would kind of drag on for those 10 years if that's the period one goes through. So you were
Not
talking about,
necessary. As
yeah.
I said, these are the symptoms, these are the impacts which every woman faces in a different level. Some may face for 9 years at a stretch, some may face for 3 to 5 years. Some may face hot flushes to extreme, some may not face hot flushes that much, but they may face anxiety or irritation to extreme. So these are different impacts with different women, and the level of severeness is also variable. There's no fixed set that if she is facing this much of these many symptoms, I have to go through it. Not necessary.
Right, thank you.
Yeah. But don't worry, be confident. We all go through it. We will pass this stage too.
Yeah, it's a bit scary, and I wonder how the family's gonna take it.
Relax, relax, relax. That's the first mantra. Relax. Deep breath and relax.
And COVID is
You
not
need
helping
family
either.
support. Sorry?
I think COVID is not helping either. I think it all has to do with the coronavirus, this kind of lockdown and right?
Too much of overexposure of everybody at home, right? We need a break.
Yes.
That's why we are on this webinar, talking to each other, seeing different faces, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And it has been a wonderful experience.
Thank you so much. Keep sending your suggestions so that we can also try building up more sessions and different topics I would like to cover up. There is another question. It's a private message that a 54-year-old lady, her periods are going on till date. Is this normal? Yes, it is normal. 50 or 51 is an average age. Normally, periods can continue from 45 till 55. And at times, it is also seen that later after 55, also some females get their menopause, which could be 56, 57, or till 59. So you may be a case of late menopause. For now, you are absolutely in the normal age range. If you are still having periods, you may see after a year it will stop. So don't worry at all. So skin rashes, there is another question for skin rashes. I think I have already addressed this answer. Okay, this question raised from Sona. When does the body come to terms with menopause and feel okay? Sona, it's a very nice question. Feeling okay is with us in our mind, how we deal with it. But yes, it's a phase from say 5 to 9 years or an extensive period of 10 years, which a woman goes through. If you're lucky, it gets over with 5 years or normally 9 to 10 years. Wait and watch.
Hi,
There's a
Meenu. I
question
sent
from-
you a question. I'm Neeta here. I sent you a question. Could you answer?
Yeah, I'm just trying to read. Can you just read out? Can you just tell me, Neeta? I can answer you.
Yeah, I'm having menopause. I mean, my period stopped past 3 months, and I've been diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia for the past 5 months. Could they be connected?
Sorry, can you repeat? Neuralgia you are having since last 3 months.
It's 5 months.
5 months. And what was the first phase you said? What
The periods have stopped since past 3 months.
Okay. And is it a sudden stoppage or were you going through a menopausal phase?
No, I think it's a sudden stop. The periods were quite regular till then, every 25-day cycle, and it just suddenly stopped. So
And how old are you?
I'm 49.
Okay. And did you discuss with your healthcare provider about this, that the neuralgia after having 3 months, suddenly my periods got stopped?
Yes, he said it is not connect. It could be, it could not be. So he said we'll have to wait, and then this circuit breaker just came in.
Yeah.
So
and since how
he
long
just
you are not seeing your periods?
3 months.
Okay, it's too early. Just wait and watch. Sometime after 3 months, 4 months, also periods will come back, because you need to wait at least 12 months in continuation. If there is no periods, we consider it as menopause set in.
Okay. Okay.
So just wait and watch.
And the trigeminal could be a cause. I mean,
Should not be. Should not be.
Could
not be.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
There's another question. Irregular period sign of menopause from Shalini. Yes, it can be a sign of menopause, but it may not be, depending on which age bracket you are. Irregular periods are also seen with people like suffering with PCOD or PCOS. So just try and check where, if you think you are in the age bracket of menopause and then you are seeing this irregular periods, yes, possibly it's an onset of menopause. You can also get a gynec checkup done so that they can tell you exactly whether you are in the right stage of menopause or is it because of some other reason. So Sangeeta has asked, after hysterectomy, do we experience menopause even if ovaries are in place, and does it result in anxiety? After hysterectomy, it's not really the right term that menopause on, it's just period stops, but not really your ovaries have stopped producing eggs. So menopause may be a normal phase for you, but because of a hysterectomy, you may not be able to understand the stoppage of your periods on a natural way of menopause setting in. Yes, the sign and symptom of the menopausal phase will be common. So yes, you can face all anxiety issues which are normal with menopausal phase. Shalini, where are you based? There is a question raised by Shalini. Can you please suggest a good multivitamin tablet? I want to know your location. Are you based in Singapore, India, or other part of the world? Where are you based? Shalini, are you hearing me? Are you listening?
We probably have two Shalinis on the call because that was not
okay.
from
There
me.
is one. Okay. That's Shalini Agarwal. That's Shalini Agarwal.
How about India?
Maybe
Since Shalini Agarwal is not responding.
India, there is a very good multivitamin. Health OK is available. You can try that. That's really nice. Health OK is a Mankind product. So I recommend this to my family also. That's really nice product. I have seen very good benefits. I don't think anyone new question. If anyone's question has been missed, please raise your hand. Please ask me directly. I'm just trying to read all. Okay, there is a question from Ava Shah. Is yoga and walk enough for pre-menopause? I have osteoarthritis and cannot do weight-bearing exercise. Doctor has asked me not to carry weight. No worries, Ava. You may not be able to carry weight, but you can always do resistance exercise. Use some resistance band, light ones, and start doing some strength bearing exercise. Strengthening is needed. Yes, you are doing yoga. Yoga is good, very good. Do regular walk and do light body weight exercise with your own body weight. You don't need to carry additional weights. Try doing at least 1 to 2 days in a week. You will start seeing benefits soon. There is a question, calcium supplement. I am 42, which calcium supplement? There are various calcium supplement available in the market. Try having calcium, which comes along with magnesium doses. I don't know which part of the world you are from. You need to tell me the city. Later on, you can connect me separately so that I can suggest you which brand is available easily in your locality and you can get hold of it. Then there is a question.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, I am Rekha Khetan. I am 49 years of age. I have a asthma problem. I have an asthma problem. Nowadays, I feel little chest pain.
You feel pain
is
now?
Chest pain. While sleeping.
Chest pain.
Yeah.
Chest pain while sleeping. Okay.
I have an asthma problem also.
Okay. So do you also think you are acidic? Do you think you are acidic? या bloating, heaviness, या gasiness feel होता है?
Yeah, I feel I am acidic.
Yes. So chest pain is most of the time because of hyperacidity. Especially when you say when you sleep, you feel chest pain. This is because of the pressure created by the gases formed because of extra acid generation in your body. So try to check your diet. Increase more water in your daily diet. Increase regular physical exercise. Daily exercise कीजिए. That will help improving your muscle toning in the body. That will help improving your digestive system. And one and very important suggestion is try to eat slowly and chew thoroughly each bite of your meal. मतलब धीरे धीरे चबा के खाइए, छोटे बाइट लीजिए और हर बाइट को तब तक चबाएं जब तक कि आपको लगे जीरो, absolutely zero solid food बचा हो further चबाने के लिए. And then only you should swallow. और खाना तब तक खाओ जब लगे you are 80-85% full, not 100%. थोड़ी सी जगह रखिए. और खाना खाने के बाद at least 30 to 45 minutes तक बैठिए मत. This will help digestion of your food better and help you reduce your acidity. And gradually you will see there will be no chest pain.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
There is a question from Dhwani. Hello, Meenu, I'm 38. So when should we start having calcium and iron supplements and how much we take? Dhwani, I have already suggested post 40, you must start having calcium supplement on a daily basis. And iron supplements are only suggested if you are low in your iron level. So please get a blood test done and check if your body, you really need iron supplement. Not everybody needs iron supplement. There is a question from Preetha. Lovely question. How good is sugar used in homemade jam for consumption of local fruits? Sugar in any form, please, Preetha, please avoid. Any form, try to avoid sugar. Enjoy your fruits as natural fruit. No need to add sugar. Abhi, no sugar. Stop it.
No, actually, some fruits, there are some fruits, you know, which I don't like to consume because they're very sour. I don't like sour fruits. So I thought how to consume those sour fruits. So maybe make some jam.
chop them. You can chop them in small pieces, add some raisins, or you can just chop a date small pieces and try them having together so that you get the sweetening of dates or raisins along with it.
Okay.
No addition of sugar.
No sugar. Okay.
Meenu, can I ask you something?
Sure.
A silly question, actually, maybe. If you're consuming, you said a lot of leafy vegetable, which I think we've all grown up listening. But if in the diet we are including soups, whether it is a completely spinach soup or another vegetable soup, would that be a good enough alternative to eating the leafy vegetables, or is there still a lot of, you're getting the vitamins but not getting the fiber? I mean,
Yes. So if suppose you are not getting fiber in terms of leafy vegetables, you can always target fibers from other vegetables. Could be your broccoli or carrots or your cauliflower. And then you can have your soup in terms of leafy vegetable minerals and vitamins you can target from your soup.
but
You
if the
also can
soup is
add some whole
totally
grains.
say, if the soup is
Yes?
only made, say, from spinach,
Yeah.
it's totally spinach.
But then
Even
there's
then,
no, depending on how you're making it, like are you straining the soup or the fiber content of spinach is still there in it?
blending it, not straining it, but blending.
Blending, but blending is fine.
Yeah, blending.
As long as it's not strained. So everything
No.
is there in the soup. So it's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
I was just concerned because I thought maybe leafy intake was too little. Thank you.
Yeah. Just trying to figure out any of the questions. If you think has been left out, please feel free to ask. We'll just wrap up the session and finish it off for today. I'm just trying to figure out. There is a question from Bella. I was prescribed iron tablet and B12 as was low. How long should I have the supplement? Okay, any this multivitamin or mineral or vitamin supplement, try to have for 2 to 3 months. Now, only iron is an exception. Iron depends on how low was your level. You need to supply your body. So you can discuss with your healthcare provider or your dietitian or nutritionist to discuss and see the level, what level your irons are. We need to understand how low is your iron level. Based on that, the tenure is decided. No fixed tenure is given in general. And B12 is a general vitamin B12 which is needed. You can supply yourself for say 2 months at a stretch and then give a gap of 1 month and then restart. So this is a cycle which will continue till your lifelong if you are a vegetarian. Any more question or should we wrap up today?
Meenu, what is your view on magnesium sprays?
Sorry, what is my view on?
Magnesium sprays.
Sorry, your voice.
A magnesium spray.
sprays.
Yeah.
Okay. It's fine. There are various ways we try to get these minerals in our body. My first suggestion is always try to have by natural food. Add whole grains, grains and pulses, beans and legumes in your diet. Have a lot of vegetables and also add nuts and seeds like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds in your daily diet. That will help you to get magnesium naturally. All these supplements comes later on. First, try to optimize your natural diet. Then if you think you are going low or you're deficient in something, then we must target, yes, as a supplement.
No, I was told it enters very well through the skin as in terms of an oil.
You can have it, no problem at all. I'll just click and we will wrap up the session. And I would really love and appreciate your feedbacks on my Facebook and my Instagram and LinkedIn page, and keep suggesting your topics, whichever you feel like listening to later on. See you all in my next session, which is on next Saturday, 28th of May at 3 p.m. Singapore time, 1:30 India time. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. How do we register for those sessions?
I will be sharing the link soon. Maybe tonight only I will release the link. You can just click and register. Hi, Manjul. Good to see you. So the topic is acidity. How to manage acidity. Hope to see you all next week. Stay safe, stay well.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a ton, Meenu. Very informative.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.